Hi guys, Dr. Doug Graham here. I want to talk to you about fasting. Let's get right on into it. Why is fasting beneficial for us? It's becoming far more universally agreed upon that fasting is good for us. 40 years ago, a lot of people fought the idea. Nowadays, people are using fasting in a lot of other phrases and adding the word fasting to things in order to take advantage of the benefit or the implied benefit of what is associated with fasting. And I'm talking about just water fasting, just drinking water, not eating anything else, and resting to the maximum. Okay, so when I'm talking about fasting, I'm talking about resting in as deep a fashion as possible. And so the question comes up often, why is fasting good for us? And the answer is because you're getting into a deeper rest than at any other time. And why is resting good for us? Well, we understand resting's got beneficial facets to it. We can't rest all the time. That's not the way to go, but we can wear ourselves out, and we use resting as a form of recovery. If we look at what people do in hospitals, for example, they get 24/7 bed rest as a way of enhancing recovery. If we look at what athletes do, they train crazy, intensely hard, long, frequent. They really go after it, and then they spend more time in bed, more time resting, and they spend more time so that they can recover. In the same sense, whether you have a health issue or a specific concern, or you're trying to generally improve your health, if you can get into a deeper state, longer state, more frequent state of resting, deeper resting, this is going to support your body's ability to heal itself. And that's what we count on, really. I mean, you cut yourself, your body heals itself. We don't do it. The body's taking care of an awful lot of things for us. And if we understand nature's plan even a little, we can see what would happen. You know, if an animal's running on a mountainside and falls down and breaks a leg, he's going to lay there until the leg heals. That's fasting. He's just going to lay there and wait. And if the leg healed more slowly through fasting than it did in other ways, then that really wouldn't be a plan for nature to say, well, just lay there. Nature heals us in the way that's the fastest possible way so that we can go on and get on with our business, whatever that might be, whatever life is you're finding interesting. So in nature's plan, for all creatures, the fastest way to heal is to fast. And we find examples of fasting throughout the animal kingdom. A dog will go off his feed anytime he doesn't feel that well, as will other animals. Oh, and we get very concerned. We know something is up if a dog goes off their feed, but usually if they just skip a meal or two or a day or two, and then they're back to right. And that's kind of cool. You know, bears don't eat for months at a time when they go through that whole big long hibernation, and whales go from the Arctic all the way down to the equator and back up again, taking months along the way to reproduce, to spawn, and to give birth, and then go back up north, where they can get more krill, and they're only eating for 3, 4, or 5 months out of the year, and they're in transit the rest of the time. All those birds that are flying from one part of the world to another, they're not eating along the way, they're just flapping their wings and going. Granted, that's not the deepest rest, but they certainly stopped eating. And by not using some 20 to 40% of their total energy of the day to digest what they ate for the day, they have the sufficient energy freed up so that they can just flap and flap and flap and go as far as they want to go on that transit. So why do we fast? Well, we fast because it frees up energy for us to utilize with our internal organs of detoxification, primarily the liver and kidneys, that we would otherwise be using to go places, to do things, to digest food, to deal with tougher stresses, whether they're environmental or emotional or any other kind. So we want to get ourselves in a comfortable position. We want to take advantage of the physical rest, of emotional rest, of letting other people take care of all this stuff. Just like you do in a hospital. Don't worry about a thing, honey. You just lay there. We'll take care of your worries. We'll take care of your needs. You just rest and heal up. Okay, so we can do the same thing when we're fasting. Get rid of all the other concerns. Let the outside world run itself for a while. And you go, you know what? I need to take care of the inside world by letting it take care of itself. So I reduce my physical rest. I get into a sensory, comfortable situation. I'm not cold, I'm not hot. It's not just adverse all the way around. There's lots of green to be seen. You hear bird sound as the predominant noises, or insects and birds and things of nature are our predominating sounds. And then we also take advantage of what's known as physiologic rest by not eating, allowing the digestive tract, which, as I say, will, depending on what you eat, take somewhere between about 20 to 40% of your total fuel needs, oxygen needs, just to run itself in order to process the food we eat. By not eating, we make all of that fuel available, all of that vitality available for the body to do its healing processes. While at the same time, when we take advantage of physical rest, we're not asking the muscles to work and produce metabolic waste products. So now, once again, the organs of detoxification that would normally deal with those metabolic waste products don't have to do that job either. And just like you, if you wanted to get a really restful, great night's sleep, you wouldn't wake up every hour and do push-ups. If you're in a hospital bed for 2 or 3 days, you don't get out to exercise. Sure, you want to go back to exercise afterwards, but when it's time to rest, it's time to rest. So if we can think of fasting as resting, not just not eating, then we get a better understanding of how fasting can benefit us. You know what? Little kids get sick for a few hours, they go to bed for a few hours, they get up, they feel fine after a few hours. But now we're looking at needing adult-sized portions of rest because we've got adult-sized illnesses, we have chronic conditions, we've got long-lasting conditions, we've got pretty darn serious conditions, we've got things that really bother us. We have things that took time to develop and will take some time, because the power that made the body is the power that heals the body. And if the body ended up generating certain symptoms, it can also reverse them if given the chance. And that chance comes when we get into deep, deep, deep rest, which can only be achieved through fasting. So if we wish to recover our health, if we wish to take our health to a new quantum level, if we want to improve any aspect of physical, mental, emotional performance, a great way to do it is through a focused, supervised water fast, where we pay attention not only during the fast to creating ideal conditions, you can get as deep into that resting state as possible, but also to the post-fast part of coming back out of it in the healthiest way, because we've all heard the horror stories of people coming out of a fast badly, and then the whole thing kind of was a lost cause. So we want to take people through the second half, which is the recovery phase of the fast. We want to take them through that properly as well, introduce those great lifestyle habits of eating whole, fresh, ripe, or organic plants and really enjoying them, going out and having fun every day so that we're active and just playing like kids really do, and then you can go on about living your healthy life. So this is Dr. Graham reminding you to go to health, to fast when it's appropriate. How do you know when it's appropriate? Well, it's probably appropriate if you don't have time for it. It's probably appropriate anytime you don't feel like yourself. Anytime you go, I'm just not being me, I really need, and the fast can be short. Maybe it's just as short as just getting some rest in between 2 meals. I'm not saying always that fasting means not eating. It could be, hey, you know what? I just rested for an hour. I just feel so much better. It could be as easy as that. So you don't really want to let it go until you've got a 40-day deficit on and need for 40 days of rest. I mean, you've let your health go way down the tubes by this point, and turning it around is a big process. So let's stay on top of our health. Let's stay current with our health. Let's live as if you never ever intended to need to fast. But still, if it comes up, it comes up. I mean, we've all got a past, and we all have to pay the price for all the things we've ever done. And if you need to fast, by all means, fast with confidence. Get somebody qualified with the education, with the experience, and the enthusiasm to properly supervise a fast and help you go through it, just like you would if you were building a business. You'd have a consultant. If you wanted to be a pro athlete, you'd have a coach. If you were climbing a mountain, you'd certainly take a guide or two. Same way, we're going into, you don't just jump in an airplane and say, I'm going to fly this thing, and learn while you go. If you're going someplace you've never been, it's a great idea to have some supervision, educated, experienced, enthusiastic, somebody trained in fasting. This is Dr. Doug Graham one more time, reminding you to go to health.